last but not least, problem set 39, forms of linear equations. Some of these can be helpful to you guys. So far, we only know the slope-intercept form. That is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So we know that the slope is downhill, -3/5, rise 3, run 5, and it goes through the point 11/5 in the y-axis. That's the slope-intercept form. Well, now they're going to give you more forms. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forms. You already know this one. Y equals mx plus b. Now, if you take this and put everything on one side, slope x plus whatever number's in front of y plus a whole number equals 0, that's called the general form. You get everything on one side, you set it equal to 0, okay? And then you have your answer. That's the general form. Now, let's go to point slope form. Let's say they give you the slope, m, and they give you one of the points. Well, for this one, all you're going to do is, when they give you the slope, plug in m, and then on this side of the equation, you're going to use y minus whatever the y point is, part of the point is, equals the slope they gave you times x minus whatever the x point is. That's the point slope form. All right? The 2-point form is, look, they're related. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, look, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. These are the same things, except for m, which is the slope. Instead of using m, they use the slope formula. This is for when they give you 2 points. And instead of just giving you the slope, they say, hey, here are 2 points. You have to tell what the slope is. And the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. These are the same freaking equations, guys. The only difference is, instead of m, when they give you 1 point and 1 slope, the point x1, y1, and the slope m, the only difference is they give you 2 points. So it's y minus y1 equals m, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, that's the slope formula, times x minus x1 for that first point. These are the same equations, but instead of m, they give you this. They make you use the slope formula. Last but not least is the double intercept form. When you get a slope intercept form like this, what happens if you get all the x's on one side, all the y's on one side, and then this whole number b on the other side? Then you divide both sides by 1. Okay, this is confusing because they put b here, right? Technically, it's the same b, but you have to make the right-hand side equal 1 for double intercept form, okay? And then put x over whatever number is in front of x plus y over whatever number is in front of b. Then this is the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis going left to right. And then this number b is the y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis going up and down. So they give you 2 points, where it crosses the x-axis, where it crosses the y-axis. So that's great, Mr. Scroot. You just explained that. Fantastic. Can we actually do a problem, though? So y equals -7/3 plus 1/5. And they want that, 7/3 x. They want it in general form. General form. Well, general form means everything on one side, the other side equal to 0. So, and they want integers as the constants. All right? So we're going to get everything on one side. I'm going to add 7/3 x plus 1y. Technically, there's a 1 in front of that y. And then I'm going to subtract 1/5 this way equals 0. Now, everything's on one side equals 0. But they don't want fractions in front of these. They don't want any fractions. They want all these to be whole numbers. So we need a common denominator of 3, 1, and 5. Well, that's 15. So since there's an equal sign, you can do the Trayvon Diggs. Multiply every term times 15. Every term. Whoop, times 15. Times 15. Times 15. That one. So here the 15 and the 3 will cancel. You get 5 times 7x. 35x. Here, nothing cancels, so 15 times 1y, well, that is 15y. Here, the 15 and the 5 cancel to be 3, so minus 3 equals 0. So there's the general form. Y equals negative 7/3 x plus 1/5 in the general form is 35x plus 15y minus 3 equals 0. So there's the general form. That's the way to solve for the general form. Get everything on one side and then make it equal 0 and then turn all the numbers in front, or all the numbers on the left-hand side, into integers using the Trayvon Diggs method. So that's the general form. That's not too difficult, I hope. Now this one. Use the point slope form to find the equation of the line whose slope is negative 1/3 and passes through negative 2, 5. So the slope is negative 1/3. And the point they give you is negative 2, 5. Negative 2, 5. They want you to use the point slope. Well, point slope is right here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, this is x1. This is y1 right here. They give you the point, negative 2 and 5, and they give you the slope. So just plug it in. Y minus y1, which is 5. I would use parentheses because you got to watch your negatives. Equals the slope, negative 1/3, times x minus x1, which is negative 2. Whoop, whoop. Should probably use brackets there. So that is y minus 5 equals negative 1/3 times x plus 2. Now, here's what this, I don't understand it, because they want you to know all 5 of these, right? And then they want you to go use the point slope form, then transform it into the general form. So that means we got to get everything on one side. Y minus 5 equals, distribute this negative 1/3, negative 1/3 x, minus 2/3, right? So if you get everything on one side for the general form, everything on one side equal to 0, and make sure that they have integers, right? So let's multiply, I don't know, let's multiply every term by 3, right? Won't that help? Then we won't have any fractions. So 3 times y, 3y. 3 times 5, 15. 3 times negative 1/3, negative 1x. 3 times negative 2/3, negative 2. Okay, bring everything on one side. Negative 1x, add it over here and here, so that cancels. So you get 1x plus 3y. And then negative 15 plus 2 over this way. That'll be negative 13 equals 0. And that's what we have. Okay? So they give you a point and they give you the slope. So you're going to use y minus y1 equals m, which is the slope, times x minus x1. x1, y1, and this is your slope. So just plug stuff in. You're going to eventually get this equation right here. Multiply everything times 3 so you have whole numbers. Then get everything on one side equal to 0 to get the general form. Okay? You want all these numbers to be whole numbers, not fractions, and then equals 0. That's the general form. So we're just manipulating equations with what they give us. Look at this one. 2x minus 3y plus 4 equals 0. And they want the double intercept form. Well, double intercept form says get everything on one side, the other side whole number is equal to 1. So get the x's and y's on one side, the other side equal to 1. So x's and y's on one side. So this thing needs to go over here. Minus 4, minus 4. So you get 2x minus 3y equals negative 4. but they want the right-hand side in double intercept form to equal 1. How can we get this side to equal 1? We divide every term by -4. -4, -4. This will cancel to -1/2 x, negative, plus 3/4 y equals 1. Now, hold on, we're not done. Because they want x over the coefficient. The coefficient is the number in front of x. And they want y over the coefficient of y, which is the number in front of y. So how do you put something over it? You invert it and bring it to the bottom. So this will be x over -1/2 up top. If you bring it down to the denominator, technically it's x over 1 times -1/2. If you bring -1/2 down to the bottom, you would get -2, correct? If you just flip it, plus y, over 3/4, flip it down to the denominator, you get 4/3 equals 1. So fellas, the x-intercept is -2, and the y-intercept is 4/3. That's pretty easy to graph. You can get 2 points very simply. So the x-axis intercept is -2. 1, 2. That point right there, -2. See it? Booyah. And then the y-intercept is 4/3. Well, that's 1 1/3. There that is. Whoop. So now you know your x-intercept and your y-intercept. You just connect the dots and you have your line. So that's the double intercept form. X over A plus Y over B equals 1. Slope intercept, you already know. Y equals mx plus b. General form, get everything on one side, equal to 0 on the other side. Use the Trayvon-Diggs to make sure that they are all equal, so that they're all whole numbers. I'm sorry. And then the point slope form is when they give you a point, x1, y1, and they give you the slope, m. So you just plug in what you know, as we showed. Guys, this is the way you manipulate these things. It's new ways of looking at lines, but they're all the same family of lines. It's just a different way of looking at things, and it's not difficult. Print out, I sent you a photo of this. Print it out so you can keep it handy in your book. But also, I think you should, you can also go back to this on page 282 every time you need it, or you can look in your review packet that I gave you. Sorry this is so long, fellas.